Round two of the NRL season looked like it was going the way of the favourites this week. Penrith got a controversial win over Parramatta. The Cowboys got out of jail. And what a finish from Xavier Coates. Plus, the Dolphins put up some record breaking stats. Let's see what round three has in store. What's going on, fam? It's your boy Bergs back at it again for another week of tipping and predictions videos. This week we have round three up on the card. A little bit of a different setting this week as I am away on business with work. Plus, I'm sorry this video is coming out a little bit late, guys. I had a epic cricket grand final on the weekend that ended in some Mancad controversy. So if you want to hear about that, let me know down in the comments. Anyway, just before we get into our video, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We bring out so much content each and every week just for you guys. So make sure that you click that like button and make sure that you're notified about our latest videos. Let's first take a look at our tipping comp and see how everything is shaping up this year. Here is the top 10, and at the moment, it is looking fiery right up the top. I can't believe RP Koala Kings has dropped all the way from first to 10th, 11th even, sorry about that. And we have a new leader, and it is Dogs for Life. Bryce, good on you, mate. I'm hanging in there just at the bottom of the top 10 there, but no doubt there will be people nipping at Bryce's heels this week. Congratulations, mate. Well done on that one. I will be updating you guys every week on the tipping results. Love to see everyone's support, so that is good stuff. Let's take a look back as well at the tips that we had last week. Last week's tips were pretty ambitious, I've got to say, on a few of them. I was 6 out of 6 right up until Sunday, and not only did I lose the cricket grand final, but I lost 2 tips as well, and that dearly cost me there. Broncos, yeah, I thought they were definitely getting that win. It was 13 plus as well, right until the moment Latrell bloody scored. Cronulla getting the win 13 plus. Took a lot longer for them to get going, but geez, the Dogs made it hard for about 60 minutes or so. Penrith, there was no way they were losing 3 games in a row. I know they have a bit of a bugbear against Para at this point in time, but I gotta say, to credit to Penrith, they just came out there. They bombed a few tries, and I know there's a little bit of controversy surrounding this game, and I'm not exactly on the side of Parramatta in this one. Yes, there was a couple of dubious referees calls, but it could have very easily been 4 more tries to Penrith, at least 3, in my opinion. They bombed at least 3 dead set tries. The Raiders made this look very easy. Now, I thought this could be a game that the Raiders might lose, and unfortunately for the Tigers, it does not look like a great season. The Raiders absolutely trounced them down at GIO Stadium. The Cowboys, geez, I had them winning 13 plus, and my God, did they absolutely nearly botch this one. Yeah, they were down 12-0, and I still have faith in my boys. We're pretty good on the old comeback, but they had some heart palpitations. Val Holmes needs to get his kicking in order. I do not know what's going on there. She missed a pretty easy conversion to go ahead in the final couple of minutes there. And then we ended up going to Golden Point. Yet Storm, pretty easy in this one, right? Jesus Christ, I did not think that they were going to come back and win this game at all. They are not a behind team. It was an unbelievable finish to that game. They scored off the same play from Pappenhausen, both sides of the field. Chan and Katoa laying one off to him with that out to in line. It is a brilliant play and a stroke of genius. It's a play that I think they've run a lot in the middle of the field with the Smith-Cronk-Slater play. Now they're using the second rower to do it, and it just looks beautiful when it pays off. The Roosters, yeah, they disappointed me at Brookvale Oval. I really thought that, after their big win, they'd go on and they're looking better this year, but it just wasn't clicking. I think it was a pretty controversial first try for Manly, and that ended up being pretty much the difference. But again, Roosters just didn't put enough points on the board, and I really don't want to go into the St. George Illawarra Dragons 13-plus call. Jesus Christ, I was so wrong, and I am sorry to any Dolphins fans who watched last week's video. Feel free to absolutely unload on me in the comments. That was absolutely ridiculous from me. All right, let's get ready to rumble. We have the grand final rematch starting us off this week with the Panthers taking on the Brisbane Broncos out at Penrith. And I've got to say, these two teams got a win last week after copping a loss in round 1. There are some blows, though, for both teams. Fisher Harris is nursing a bit of an injury, and I don't think Adam Reynolds is going to be playing this game, and that is going to be huge for Broncos fans. I know they have Jock Madden there, but I just don't think it's not like for like. I don't think that you can replace Adam Reynolds' game management style with a guy like Jock Madden. The Panthers should be without Jerome Luai. He should be getting suspended for his tripping and then also the dangerous contact charge on Bailey Simonson. Do not know how he wasn't sin binned for that, but we might not go into that one. I don't think that affects Penrith too much. If they lose Fisher Harris, it really hurts their go forward a little bit. So, yeah, the Broncos are definitely going to be fired up from this one. As we all know, they let the grand final slip last year in the last 15 minutes of the game, giving up a 14-point lead. Yeah, it's a great matchup. I can't wait to see what happens down on Thursday night. I think both teams are a little out of form coming into this year. They're not really at their best yet. Penrith showed glimpses last week, but I think they took advantage of an early injury to Bailey Simonson, and that's why Tungo carved up. I'm not saying that Tungo didn't play a fantastic game. The bloke had 6 line breaks, for God's sake. That's unbelievable. But I just think that they really exploited Kelma Tuolangi, and that opportunity won't be there this week with Cobbo and Jesse Arthurs being on that side. In the last 10 games between these two teams, the Panthers really rule the roost with 7 out of the last 10 games against the Broncos, but the last 3 games have been decided by 9 points or less. So, yeah, taking into account the couple of injuries that could be happening here, I think Reynolds might want to push to get back for this game just because it's such a big game emotionally for both of these teams. Penrith will feel like they've got the wood on the Broncos, and the Broncos will also feel like they are needing some payback after last year's grand final, and just to show that they can play 80-minute football against the best team over the last 4 years. But in saying that, I think Adam Reynolds will not play this game, and therefore I have to tip the Panthers 1-12. Okay, moving to Friday night now, we have the Warriors taking on the Raiders at home this week. The Warriors are coming off the back of 2 losses, and I think last week was genuinely heartbreaking for them. I just thought that the way that they took over that game, they had no right to stop Melbourne dead in their tracks. And once the Warriors get a roll on, they're pretty hard to stop. I think there could have been a little bit more advantage taken if Wade Egan was in the side. He's a really good runner of the football. And I think Freddie Lussick just didn't really capitalize on a couple of opportunities there, but that's splitting hairs. I just think that the Warriors are looking really good this year. They're just not getting the ball to roll their way, and it showed against the Sharks with a very close loss, a 4-point loss, and then last week a try with 20 seconds to go to basically end it for them. The Raiders, on the other hand, look strong. Their opposition hasn't been exactly top notch. I wouldn't say the Knights and the Tigers are exactly top-notch competition. They're not in my top 8 for this year, both of those teams, but neither of the Raiders. So in this one, I do actually think that the Raiders will cop their first loss of the season. I just think Seb Chris will probably be out for this game as well. Wade Egan actually should be back from his elbow injury. And yeah, I expect the Warriors just to bounce back. It's a pretty simple one for me in this one. I'm going to go the Warriors 13 plus. Revolutions, you follow. The rolls and punches keep coming, and round 3 is bringing it this year in the NRL. We've got the Roosters taking on the Rabbitohs on our Friday night late game, and I've got to say, over the last 10 games, it couldn't be more close. 5-5. The Roosters and the Rabbitohs love to split the difference, and this game is always a monster game. And I tell you, one man who steps up, Latrell Mitchell, in this matchup. He loves playing against his old team. It will be the first time we see Jack Whiten in a Rabbitohs jersey. That's exciting for Rabbitohs fans. I think their edges have been a little bit soft in the last couple of weeks. They've let in a fair few points, 20 plus both weeks. So hopefully he brings a bit more steel in the defense on the edges. For the Roosters, they just need to get it together. I don't know if Luke Keary will be playing this week. I mean, he didn't exactly finish the game strong last week, so copped a bit of a head knock. So, it might be a case of him missing this game. So Sam Walker might have to take over there. Teddy still looks strong, though. That's the positive thing for the Roosters. He's looking fit. He's looking fast. I know he gave it off to Dom Young last week for a try. He didn't think he could get there himself, but Dom Young is as quick as anyone in the comp, and I think Teddy knows that. So, yeah, in this game, could go either way. I am actually going to back the Rabbitohs for an upset here. I am hearing talk that Dean Hawkins is going to come in for Lachlan Ilias. And you know what? I actually think that's a positive move for the Rabbitohs. I just don't know if Ilias is really coming along as quickly as they want him to at this stage. Who knows? Jack Whiten might not even play in the centres. He could come into that sixth spot, and we could see Cody Walker move to halfback. You never know. So I'm not exactly sure what's been happening at training, but if Jack Whiten comes into the halves, that would be very interesting to watch. Two running halves. I think Jack Whiten has a bit of kicking experience, and so does Cody Walker. The thing with Jack Whiten as well, he's a left footer, so that could help. I just don't know if the pinpoint kicking will be there, but it's not there with Ilias at the moment, so you may as well try anything you can. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs in this one, guys. 1-12. From a Friday night blockbuster to a Saturday afternoon tea party where we have the Dogs taking on the Titans at Belmore. In the last 10 games between these two teams, the Dogs actually have the better record, winning 6 out of those last 10 games. They split the difference last year, though, by 4 and 2 points, respectively. In this one, I expect Kieran Foran to come back. I think Josh Addo-Carr for the Dogs is also going to be rushed back, and he must have something different in his blood. I think he was meant to be spending a lot of time on the sidelines for an injury last season and made a miraculous comeback. Seems like he's going to be doing exactly the same thing from an AC joint injury this year. I'm also hearing a bit of talk that David Fifita is a chance at playing, but may want to hold off on that one until round 4. Jaden Campbell still another couple of weeks away. The Titans look good here coming off a bye. I just think that the Dogs, they're defending well for about 60 minutes of the game and realizing that they actually need to score points to win the game. I'm liking their defensive structure at the moment. It's looking very solid, but dear God, they need to move Drew Hutchison from halfback. I said it 2 weeks ago. I'm going to say it again. It just isn't working right now for the Dogs. They need to find a different halves combination. They need someone to game manage a bit more. I think Drew Hutchison is a bit more of a lock. Maybe move Jamin Salmon back to the bench and try Drew in the middle. Just because his ball play in the middle, I think would be a bit more valuable to echoes of an Isaiah Yeo type of lock, but they can't be playing him at halfback. It's just not working at the moment. And if they stick with it, then I've really been given no option but to tip the Titans off a bye. I just really like the teams coming off a bye this week. This is an upset for me as well. So I think the Dogs are going to be starting the year 0-3, and the Titans will get a win, 1-12. The next game on Saturday afternoon is the Dragons taking on my North Queensland Cowboys at Netstrata Jubilee Stadium in Kogarah. And for the Dragons last week, they really need to put that behind them and focus on this week. Whereas the Cowboys, I think they just need to play a better first half. They played 40 minutes of pretty bad football, made about 12 errors, and it really cost them. It almost cost them, I'm going to say, towards the end of the game. But luckily, we got out of jail. I don't expect us to do that again this week. We're actually, over the last 10 games between us and the Dragons, we have a better record, 6-4, but we're also on a 4-game winning streak against the Dragons. So they'll probably be looking to break that streak, but I just think we have more class across the park. And the Dragons in round 1 looked completely different to the Dragons I saw last week. They were giving up on each other. They weren't competing towards the final whistle and just letting the Dolphins run riot. And the Dolphins ended up putting up a record score for them as well. So, I just think the Dragons, it's 1 week of brilliance and 1 week of absolute terror. So I can't tell you exactly where I feel like the Dragons are sitting as far as this year is concerned. But losing Lukey hurts us a lot. It looks like it's going to be about 4 to 8 weeks at this point. He will be requiring surgery on a syndesmosis injury. Most guys end up coming back pretty early from this one now, whereas it used to be more of an 8 to 10 week injury. It's now a 6 to 8 week injury. So we'll see how that goes. Kili Fuyaki will probably step in. I've got to go my Cowboys in this game, 13 plus. Our Saturday night game is the West Tigers taking on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. And for the Tigers, I actually got to tell you, I didn't realize how bad their injury toll was until I actually looked it up. They have so many players out at the moment, but a lot of them are expected back in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I think for Tigers fans, a full side isn't far away. Especially guys like Latu Fainu, who you might expect to get a few games if Jaden Sullivan continues the way he's going. It was terrible on the weekend. Big plus for them. Lachlan Galvin looks the goods. For an 18-year-old to come in and basically play a player's player performance for the Tigers was outstanding. I'm really interested to see a bit more of him. They've got Brent Naden coming back. I think they got Justin Olam as well. So, yeah, those are a couple of guys that you think will be in and around that first grade side this year. But we'll see how it all shapes up for the Tigers. For the Sharks, yeah, they should get Hamlin Uele back this week. He didn't play last week, so he wasn't also too far away. And I think that with him back, they're just going to be a little bit too strong for the Tigers. Wow, I'm giving the Tigers a little bit too much credit there. If Hamlin Willey's back, I think the Sharks will put on an absolute score against the Tigers. They've won 1 out of the last 10 games against the Sharks, and I don't really see that changing this week. I think the Tigers should almost be around the $5 to $6 mark. It is a game that I could see the Sharks losing, but one thing that you got to keep in mind here is the Sharks are great against teams that are going to be in the bottom 8 this year, and the Tigers are going to be one of those teams. I'm going to go Sharks, 13 plus. The first Sunday game for round 3 is a fun one. Both games are actually very fun games and good matchups from last year. We have the Parramatta Eels taking on the Manly Warringah Seagulls for the first game on Sunday. And in the last 10 games between these two teams, it's split 5-5. And you've got to say that Manly have come into this season and they are looking good. Against the Roosters, they showed a lot of resolve in defence, and that's something that I didn't think Manly were quite capable of. I knew they had the attack there. Brooks being added to the ranks, and then Turbo being a bit fitter than he was last year, just looks phenomenal and hard to stop. And then on the back of that, you've got DCE's kicking game. They will have to deal with a fired up Parramatta side, though, who copped a couple of pretty shitty calls last week. I don't think Para were particularly that bad in that game against Penrith. They didn't deserve to win. I'm not going to go that far, but they put up a good showing. They always do against Penrith, and they always do against Manly as well. This could be a game where I do feel that if Para don't show the kind of resilience back-to-back weeks, then they could be staring down the barrel of finishing in the bottom half of the 8 and potentially out of the 8. I just want to see the fire from Parramatta, and I think we'll get it this week. Injuries for both teams are a bit weird at the moment. We've got Kelma Tuolangi from last week, and then also Bailey Simonson will be out with his HIA. We don't have Sivo coming back, so what's going to struggle for Parramatta is their outside back rotation. It's looking pretty thin right now, and I'm not exactly sure who's going to come in and play in the centres / wing spot. And for Manly, the only outs they really have Tofoa Sipley, who will be back next week, and then also Saab. Tommy Talau also didn't really finish the game well either for them last week. So again, Raymond Vega could come in there. I spoke about him last week. I thought he should have come in last week. Tommy Talau, not really a difference maker for me, but he was solid in that game for the time that he played. In this one, I'm actually going to go with Parramatta. I do think that they were... I don't know how they're favourites in this game, which is kind of scary for me because whenever Parramatta are the favourites in a game that's a bit close, where they probably shouldn't be the favourites, they're $1.85 to the Seagulls $2. They tend to not turn up. I don't know what it is. It's just maybe having a father who's a massive Para fan and all my friends are Para fans. It's just when they're the favourites, I don't like tipping them because they always tend to disappoint their fans. But I'm going to get on the bandwagon this week, guys. I'm going to tip Parramatta to win this one 1-12. The last game of round 3 takes us to McDonald Jones Stadium, where we have the Knights taking on the Melbourne Storm. We got a team who is 0-2 to start this season on the back of some lackluster performances, and we got a team who is 2-0 after getting out of jail last week with a Xavier Coates incredible match winner, possibly one of the best put downs I have ever seen. I'm not going to say best try I've ever seen. Got to review some of the footage. Thanks for sending in your comments, guys, on our Instagram about that post as well. That's much appreciated. Let me know if you want to see a video about the best tries of all time, in my opinion, as well. In this matchup, we all know the story. The Knights broke the streak last year. They've won 1 out of the last 14 games against the Storm. I think the Storm are a little bit of a different side this year. The only thing that concerns me is Munster probably won't be back for this game. It looks like he's probably going to be out till about round 5. They will get Nelson Asofa-Solomona back. They will be, however, without Jerome Hughes, who put in an early guilty plea for a bit of a controversial push on the referee. Without their 2-star halves, it's going to be up to guys like Pappenhausen and Grant to really carry this under-strength Melbourne team over the line. And last week, they couldn't really deal with the Warriors' power down the middle, especially when Welch was ruled out for the game. They just lost a bit of sting in the middle. Not saying that Welch is a world beater, but he definitely makes a difference. He's an extra body that you can throw out there. I just think the Knights probably are going to be hungry against the Storm in front of their home fans. I don't know how the Storm are favourites in this game. I really think they should be the outsider here. The Knights have everything going their way. The injuries, Jaden Brayley might be coming back for this game. I know Jack Hetherington probably going to be out, but not a big loss in my opinion. It's tough, guys. I'm actually going to go the Storm in this one. I think they continue on and start the year 3-0, and the Knights slump to an 0-3 record. I'm going to go the Storm 1-12. So that is it for this week's video, guys. Let me know what you think about my tips down in the comments section below. Please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We bring out so much content each and every week, and I'll catch you on the next one.